Listen, relax, all right? We're going to get the party started right, cocksucker. How many edibles did you take?
I took one.
What?
It's an ABX. What do you expect me to do?
What do you expect me to do? Okay. Wait till fucking Wednesday night. I'm going to de-juice like 8 of them. It's going to be deep Wednesday night. I'm going to squeeze them in your eyeballs. You can't wake up the next day. You'll have like red eye.
Oh, I'll have another sty.
I'm waiting on this 1,000 milligram spray that you spray in your mouth one time. And it's
1,000 milligrams a spray?
1,000 milligrams of spray.
What the fuck? That's like death. That's like you're walking around. Can you imagine? Oh my! I was gonna put it up, but we probably don't have the rights to it. I saw this video today of this guy who called the police on himself because of the edibles, and the paramedics were like, just sit down, have a donut. I can't imagine if you hit someone with 1,000 milligrams spray, what would happen to them?
Fuck them, Everybody needs to do it one time. Everybody has their own personal Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go deep once in a fucking while.
Yeah, but usually they get to decide that for themselves.
Who?
The people.
Yeah, I'm like, here, take this shot of this spray. If they say yeah, you don't say 2 words. The first one who talks loses.
That would be crazy.
And if they ask, what's in it? Nothing. It's 10 milligrams. That's it. 10 milligrams to death. Fucking guy called him. I called the cops on myself a few times when I was snorting coke. Like 3 times.
Jesus. How long did it take yourself?
One time I called them twice in one night. No, 3 times. And they finally told me to put the bag away and go to sleep.
Did you? Oh, so did they come out the other 2 times?
Oh, yeah.
And would you talk to them?
One time I was at my friend's house and I was seeing shadows. I was so fucked up. I was seeing shadows on coke and booze, and I called the cops. I was at this is when I used to pay you to let me snort coke in your house because people were looking for me. Nobody was looking for me. It was my paranoia. I'd pay you like $100, and I'd bring a case of beer to your house and fucking snort coke in your living room and fucking stay there all night while you slept with Athena's.
I feel like you started Airbnb.
It was terrible.
You did like a drug Airbnb.
I checked myself out of a hotel room and kept going into. I checked myself out of like 2 hotel rooms and finally settled on the 3rd. Like I thought there was somebody in the wall at one hotel. I thought there was fucking, you have no idea what drugs do to your mind. I think about those times and I'm like, that's going to come back to bite me in the ass somewhere.
Oh yeah. Like I got to be honest. Like people have like described doing coke to me. It doesn't, maybe they just haven't described the awesome part, but it seems terrible. Like that seems awful. Like, why would you do that to yourself? It's so expensive.
But it wasn't at that, listen, for you to hallucinate on cocaine, you got to be going for 24, 12 hours, 13 hours. Like, I'm talking deep. Like, I
don't even know the answer. I'm not trying to be funny. How often would you do 12 hours?
Whenever I had the chance.
I figured. I was like, I thought you did that a lot.
Like let's say you buy a gram of coke. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do a gram of coke. I'm going to go to my buddy's band, do a few bumps, pick up a victim, and then go back to my room and smoke coke with a chick and eat her ass. That's one thing. But when I was picking up ammunition, like I'm picking up over an 8-ball, I'm going to war, Jack. I'm like fucking the dude from fucking. I'm like that dude from fucking Johnny O. What's his name? Johnny O. What's his name?
Johnny
the guy, fucking the crazy guy, Vinny O. He's he's on fucking Punk, whatever that fucking show is. He has a podcast. Come on, Lee.
I have no idea.
Steve-O, you fuck.
Oh, Steve-O. Oh my god.
Wait. Steve-O, Devo. I don't fucking know.
Steve-O definitely has a podcast.
Well, when I used to see Steve at the Gardner 7-Eleven, that motherfucker would buy a case of beer, a bottle, and 3 cartons of cigarettes. And he would be by himself. I knew that man was going to war. He don't want to be bothered. He's just going to go open his apartment, close the curtains, fucking tape the windows, the peephole, shut the phone off, and he's going to war. He's going to take an adventure to see where it takes him.
And
sometimes after 12 hours, you got to call a hooker or a friend and go, bring over beer. I got an 8-ball of Coke, and they come over. You know, it's an adventure. It's not fun. If it was still fun, I'd be doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it is fun while you're doing it. It's listen, man. I could become an addiction specialist because I've thought of everything. Like, why would a human being do that? Like, you know, I did things that I'm not proud of. I did them. I had fun doing them, you know, but that was the addiction. It wasn't the real me, you know.
But it was like, was it more fun towards the beginning? Like I just like that. I think I've thought of that, like how people get into it. Like when you first start, are you having fun more than you're having like the paranoid times?
It was fun. I didn't start getting paranoid till 1986. I was already doing Coke 7 years.
Oh, okay.
That means you grow into a different level of the addiction. Now I was getting paranoid. I had to get high a couple days a week, you know. But those 12-hour, like I still remember starting at like 7 at night and at 3 being out of your mind and still having a bag full and going, oh, I don't even know if this is fun anymore. But you're in it. You're stuck. You're stuck in an apartment. You're self-conscious. You know, anyway, you know, you walk into, people are going to know you're doing something. It was just weird. I was thinking about one thing the other night. Like, I had just gotten out of prison. And I was in the halfway house for at this point, about 7 months. And I had done really well. This was 89. I had done really well. And I'm about to get married in September. And I started getting furloughs in June. I didn't have any place to get furloughed to. So I would furlough to my father-in-law's at the time. He had a trailer on the property. And they asked me, if you sleep up here, where do you want to sleep? And I go in the trailer. And they're like, what? Why do you want to sleep in the trailer? I go, because I want to sleep out in wilderness. I just wanted to do Coke and not have them, you know, I could walk around and jerk off and, you know, fucking.
Is that the real reason?
Yeah, you don't want to do Coke in somebody's house. They're going to know. You're walking around all night, fucking turning on lights, turning off lights, looking under couches and shit. So I went to town and I had a fucking really good connection at the time. And when I got over there, he goes, listen, this shit's really expensive. I'm still going to give it the 8-ball for whatever he was giving it to me for. Mm-hmm. But when I looked at it, I go, it's going to be a long fucking night. Like, I ran up there. I ate dinner with them. I had like a fucking case of beer in my truck. I had like a fucking bottle of something, vodka with juice. I didn't smoke then, and I wasn't smoking reefer then because they were pissing me too much. Damn. And I fucking went into my trailer about 9 o'clock. Oh, about 3 o'clock, and I was doing tons of it. And this shit was fucking sensational. Like 3 bumps, you were good for an hour. I'm doing 6 bumps an hour, 7 bumps an hour.
And what do you do? It sounds like you drink, but like when I'm high, I sit down and watch TV or whatever. When you're doing Coke by yourself, what do you do? I'm
just sitting in a room looking for porn somewhere, trying to beat one off with your dead dick. And you're trying to have fantasies, and it's just, and there was no cell phones then. There was nothing. There's nobody you could call. But I remember like at 4 a.m, I was crawling on the floor, and there was still like a ton left. And I'm like, this shit's the sun's gonna come up in 3 hours, and I'm gonna be fucking fried. And I'll never forget, at one point, I was looking, and it was June, July maybe. And I'm looking at these trees, Lee, and I'm seeing guys jump out of the trees with ropes, with machine guns in one hand. And I'm sitting there watching this trailer, getting surrounded by these guys. And I'm like, I'm just going to fucking kill myself. I remember I got on my hands and knees and started snorting all that Coke. And the rest I threw away. And then I just laid in the bed. And they didn't knock on the door till like 10 a.m. I was still fucking out of my mind, sweating, jawing, fucking looking around for little rocks that were on the floor. It was fucking horrible. I don't wish that on anybody, man.
That sounds terrible. Like, do you just feel like you couldn't, like, Would you ever snort half of what you got? Like, or if you bought coke, you were doing all that coke.
You're doing it all. You tell people, yeah, I do 2 lines and I put it in the refrigerator. Fuck the fuck out of here. I do the whole thing before I go home. There's no bringing nothing home for the cat. None of that shit. Whenever I start a fucking podcast, I always got one fucking idiot that texts me at 7 o'clock at night. Not even business hours. Like, it's not even fucking business hours.
Fucking unbelievable.
Fucking
what do they even want? Anything important?
Stupidity. Like to show me a picture of a fucking Chinese restaurant somewhere. I guarantee that's what it is. It doesn't take a fucking genius. You know, it doesn't take a genius to know what it's nobody with $100 bill. You know, nobody's going to text you $100 bill at 7 o'clock at night. It's somebody to tell you something fucking stupid. Yeah. Drives me fucking insane. I'm going to find out who this motherfucker is now and send 911 to his house and a fucking everything. Dumb fucks. All day they got time to text me. They want to text me at 10 o'clock at night like fucking the jamokes that they are. But besides that, I had a great Father's Day. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. That's awesome. What did you guys do?
Well, the whole weekend was fucking great. I was supposed to do that thing. At go to the Sopranos on Thursday night.
Right.
I'm not going to the city. You know, when she called me that day and I asked her who was going, it was nobody from the movie. It was just going to be me and the Italian girl who never said hello to me or anything. So I was like, I'm going to go there with my nose wide open. Would I want to walk the red carpet? I don't want to walk no fucking red carpet. I'm not and anything to do here. So I was like, I'm not going to go over. So I just stayed home, smoked some dope. And then Friday morning, I got up early, went to her graduation, which was fucking phenomenal.
That's awesome.
I finally got to see a Diaz graduate. And
yeah, you did. She's fucking going to middle school.
Yeah. And then we hung out the rest of the day. Friday night, I went to a party for a little while. And then Saturday, we had 3 fucking softball games, and they canceled them at 6 in the morning. But then we got a call at 7 that they were back on a scrimmage in Marlboro, where I live. And my daughter had to be there at 10. We didn't get home till 7:30.
At night?
That night.
Huh? And then you did 3 games? 3
games. Like people say to me, you know, can you come to my party on Saturday? And I'm like, listen. Ain't nothing happening on Saturdays. Because after I leave there, what do I want to do? I've been in the sun for 3 fucking games. My asshole smells from the heat. I got suntan lotion. I got bit by mosquitoes. Where am I going to go? Like, I don't plan anything. People are like, yeah, we're having this party. You're going to stop by. I'll try my best. But once I get home and take my shoes off and think about the shower and smoke a joint, I'm not going to want to go to your fucking reunion or anything you're doing.
No, those are. I can't imagine doing 3 games because those are like you're sitting in those chairs. What do you do? Like, do you watch intently?
No, let me tell you how I do it. All right, I got there at 10. They said the first game was 11:30. I hung out for about 15 minutes, and I got in my car. I smoked, and I went to the gym till 11:30.
Okay.
And I shot back over at 11:30, nice and worked out. And I sat there, drank some water, had a protein shake, and watched a game for a little while. Then the game was going to start at 2:30, but the ref wasn't, the ump didn't show up till 4:45.
Motherfucker.
But, so we scrimmaged them for like 4 innings, and then we played them for 7.
Jesus.
The ump got there. And it was, let me tell you something. I was pretty tired Saturday night, and I didn't do much on Father's Day. I wish I could lie to you and tell you, I didn't do shit. I went for a walk. I smoked some dope. I went to the weed store in the morning.
Nice.
And I was just tired, and I went to sleep that night with a headache. My blood pressure had gone up because Saturday was like we were going to play the team that the coach didn't want to play on. And then the 12U rec coach didn't want to because I went off on him and the other idiot because they're fucking idiots. And I thought the parents would have my back, and they didn't. So they got stuck with the 2 coaches again. Plus the coach that my daughter's playing for now was the rec coach. He won the championship with him. They threw him out, and they put this other Staminka, who's as dumpy as fucking could be. He's just a lump of debt. You know, if you see the guy, you're like, what the fuck? He's just a lump of a man, you know, like worthless. The guy didn't even play checkers in fucking high school. So, get there. The game's at 2-4. Now, I went off on the coach. I had every right. The parents were rallying me up. And then when I went off, and the parents fucking walked away from me. So I put my daughter on a different team. Nobody stuck up for my daughter. Nobody said nothing. They all looked after their best fucking interest. And Saturday, I'm sitting there, and I'm playing. You know, they played the 4 innings, and I'm like, both of these teams are pretty strong. This is going to be interesting. But Mercy already had a triple in that scrimmage.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
She let them know who the fuck she was playing with. And then the game started, and Mercy went 3 for fucking 3, had like 3 RBIs, scored 3 times, stole 2 bases. You know, she just rammed it up their fucking asses. And in the 5th inning, the other coach started, like, the guy, if you think fucking California was fake, come down here for a couple of weeks. Because
really?
This has attracted the whole country. Like, it's everywhere. So we get there, and he's being humble, like real nice. He didn't talk to me, my wife, or my daughter. He's being real fucking nice with the other people and being like, but I knew this is all an act. This is like fucking, you know, half the people I know. Just give them 5 minutes. And the true colors. That's why I love when people meet movie stars. Oh my God, we spoke for 10 minutes. They were so nice. Give them an hour.
Right.
Get the fuck away from me with your stupid fucking questions. You know? So, what were we talking about?
About the game.
So, I don't say nothing at all. I don't say nothing the whole fucking game. And my daughter's team is losing 5-3. And also they come back and score 4 runs. And they held these fucking wenches for 2 fucking innings. And the coach started getting hotter and hotter. All of a sudden, his true colors started coming out. He's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and fucking parents are seeing it. Everybody's seeing it. He just fell into the fucking web. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just watching him. And then he started yelling at the girls. The girls gave up on the field. They started playing in the dirt. That means they don't want to play for you. He doesn't know how to lift the stakes with people. You know, he's just a mental fucking retard. So all of a sudden, fucking, that's it. We won. I didn't say 2 words. He was hot. This game meant so much to them that the assistant coach, who's the sweetest guy in the world, who never says a word, almost got thrown out. This is how frustrating it was for them. And one of the moms was cracked. You could see the smoke coming out of her ears. I kept hearing the crack coming from her. It was tremendous. And at the end of the game, I got up, I turned around, I looked at all those stiffs, and I go, hey, in the words of Tony Montana's mother, he was a bum then, and he's a bum fucking now. And they just looked, and I just walked into the sunset like fucking Zorro.
You really said that to them?
Fuck yeah. And I told one of the coaches, I said he was a bum then, he's a bum now. And one of the dads that was my Goomba, and then he stopped talking to me. I went up to him, gave him a hug, and I go, hey, he was a bum then, and he's a bum now. And that was the end of that. Let's get this fucking show started, cocksuckers. Greetings. It's Tuesday, the 18th of June. We're 2 days away from summer. Get ready. It's going to be a hot one, Jack. Anyway, the check-in is brought to you by Fujisports.com, which is basically Fuji Gis. If you're a big guy, you need a nice A4 or an A5, Fuji Gi has got it. Their gis are tremendous, lightweight and tough. You know how they always try to pull your arm to get you back? Listen, your sleeve will not fly off here. This is a tough sleeve. The pants are comfortable. Listen, Fuji Gi is the way to go, whatever you're looking for. They got rash guards. They got mats. You can get 4 mats for your garage and flip grandmother, teach how to do jiu-jitsu. Go to Fujisports.com right now. You see a gi you like, press in code CHURCH, CHURCH, and get 10% off on your next purchase. The check-in is also brought to you by Onnit.com. Listen, it's the home of the brain stuff, alpha brain. Let me tell you something. Whether you take the pill, the drinkable powder, or the new heavy-duty alpha brain in the black case, forget about what happens to your mind. You'll be thinking about things even the Martians can't catch you. You know what I'm saying? You'll be figuring out stuff like Terrence Howard. You'll be talking about mathematical tables and whatnot. Anyway, go to Onnit right now. I can't do anything for you on the kettlebells, but the brownies, the protein powder, oh my God, the alpha brain, the shroom tech with the mushrooms. They got the shroom tech sport that'll make your lungs bigger than anything. And they got a shroom tech immune. If you're going to be around a lot of creepy people, you take that and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, go to Onnit.com right now, press in code CHURCH and get 10% off your first order. Remember, Fujisports.com and Onnit.com. And without further ado, let's get this party started, Jack.
Turn off your TVs, run for your lives. It's over. They didn't put you on this planet just to give up. If Uncle Joey can do it, I can rule the world. That's what you gotta be thinking.
Welcome back to church!
It's Monday, motherfuckers. Tuesday, whatever the fuck it is. So
Good to see you, buddy.
Weekend. How was your weekend, Tarzan?
I had a honestly fantastic weekend.
Yeah.
I had a great week of comedy. I technically headlined 3 shows in a row. I did 45 twice, but the most exciting part is Sunday morning I got a call and Saturday morning, sorry. Saturday morning I got a call and on like 7 hours notice to headline my first actual comedy club. It was awesome.
Very proud of you. And this is what we discussed, that you wanted to be Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, do all these clubs and challenge these owners and shit. And it's like, it ain't going to work. And if you do get it, you're going to have the worst time of your life. So stay in your area and become the king. Might take a year, might take 2 years, it might take 3 years, or it might take 4 years, but you're going to be so much better and you're going to have a home. When people go to Boston, I'll go see Lee Syatt. You're going to Boston, you need a feature called Lee Syatt. I know a great comic, Lee Syatt. That don't happen if you keep going to these clubs that you're just breaking even at. There's no future there. You're breaking even.
Yeah, that's true.
A week in a hotel, you get the same mileage at home.
Yeah.
How do I? Because I did it. You get the same mileage at home. Become the king of your fucking domain, and then you could venture out. But if you're going to be in San Diego 1 week, Kansas City 1 week, it's great to a point. It's great to a point. There's an opportunity when you stay home, you develop, you meet the local guys, you get involved in all the contests. If the newspaper reaches out to you to host a fucking, this is it. And it's fun. And people start calling the club. Hey, we're doing a movie in town. We want 3 of your top comics. That's how it happens. But if you're not a part of that community, they're never going to know.
Okay. Right. And that's how I got it, because of the person who put on the show on Friday night.
That's it.
She was the one who recommended me.
It's a small world, but it's a big world, comedy. Comedy's a big fucking world, but at the same time, it's a pretty fucking small world. Everybody knows each other. And I'll get calls and say, anybody to cover on Tuesday night? Boom. This is what it is, being part of something. But I'm not going to call you from Las Vegas if I got to call out 3 hours before. So it's, you dip down in New York, you try your wits every 90 days to see if you're getting anywhere, try to move up the ladder, and then go back to the drawing board. And you save the aggravation, it's 1,000's aggravation. You don't have to talk to these people. Just call in, hopefully they'll give you a spot, or somebody will give you a spot somewhere.
And it was just very cool to get asked. I was thinking about it, and to be honest with you, I was kind of I had tears on the way to the club. Like I was just so, and it wasn't like sad. Like, and I've never really done that before, but it was just like, sort of like, I've never had happy tears, but like it was kind of, because like, you know, you put me on some pretty awesome shows, but it's because I'm your friend, and like it's not. This was something that I just earned as a comedian. So it's very cool.
Man, it feels good.
Yeah,
it teaches you how to get your own work. So when a headliner does call you one day and go, Lee, I want to take you on a 20-city tour. After that, you could always have your career. You're going to gain 4 or 5 clubs, but you came into it with something. You're not sitting at home waiting with your nose wide open. An open mic twice a week with a guy playing the piano and eating catfish, you know, whatever the fuck they do, tuna fish up on stage.
No, I've seen that guy at the show.
What's that?
I've seen that guy at the open mic.
Yeah, that, you know, it's so, that's the good thing about it. Everybody thinks they want to do this and they want to do that. Listen, man, I learned a big lesson in LA when I joined jiu-jitsu. I was going here, there, and I never improved because everybody had the secret weapon. I stayed in the program and dedicated myself to that program, and I'm a lot better now. I'm thinner. You know, it's the same thing. I was talking about on the Patreon podcast today that all you need in your life is 4 years. You ever think about that?
No, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so you go to college, you struggle, right? You eat ramen, you got to get Pell Grants, your parents help you, you know. Then you graduate and you try to get a job in your major. And, you know, you do that for 4 or 5 years and you realize you don't want to do that. And then you bum around, maybe you go on a fishing boat, maybe you join the Peace Corps for a year, you know, whatever. And then life starts to get real. And somebody comes to you and go, listen, I got an opportunity. You can make 80 grand a year to start. It's a lot of work. We're going to be delivering fruit or whatever. And all of a sudden you're delivering fruit and you meet a girl, you know, you're not out getting DUIs. You're just trying to be you. Yeah, you have flaws. You know, you might snort coke once in a while, or you might like the New England Patriots and gamble on the Patriots, but you're human. But at the same time, you're going to the gym, you're doing all these things, and guess what? One day some guy comes and says he wants a partner with you and your partner. He's going to give you each $300,000. And now it's a bigger fruit company. And now you're working 80 hours a week, 70 hours a week, but you can't fill the register, and your kids are eating, and your wife is happy, and you got the 2 cars, and your kid can play the piano. And in those years, let's say you make $400,000 a year for 4 or 5 years, right, in the fruit business. And then some calamity happens, COVID, blah, blah, blah. You know what? That momentum from those 4 years will carry you. I'm not talking about the money you put away, the business contacts you put away. Now your business is going to be a lot different, and you're going to be dealing with bigger accounts. You know, it's really weird what happens. But if you really look at it, look at the career of a football player. Look at the career of a good UFC fighter.
It's about 4 years.
4 years. You go in there for 4 or 5 years, you rape and pillage, you work every single hour, every single day, you sacrifice for your family, and one day, here you got it. And now you don't have to bust your hump for 20 years. You paid off your house, you did this, you did that, you've got your kids' tuition, you know. Now you don't have to bust your hump. And at this time, your life becomes easier. Like I said to you, now you're not dealing in the bottom half anymore. People are coming to you with bigger deals, so you work less. It's all the same. And that's why I try to tell people that all the work you put in is to rock and roll for 4 years, 6 years. And after that, you look back and go, that was a time in my life.
Got it. So I thought you were saying like every 4 years you improve or you move along, but you're saying you're working for like a 4-year period of like the top of your work. Yeah.
You know, Guns N' Roses, they busted their humps for like 2 or 3 years, right? And they put an album together, they borrowed money or whatever. And in 87, 88, the album comes out and it's a fucking hit. And they go on a double or triple world tour, guys. They didn't stay home. They disappeared. And every time they looked, the tour got extended by 12 dates or 14 dates. And then the first year becomes, remember when Duff was on and he was telling us a story that 1 year became 3 years
on tour.
And they put out 2 more albums, 3 more albums. They did all this body of work and they disappeared. They each did solo projects. Axl tried to put an album together. It took him 22 fucking years. And then they came back. And now they're making $1 million each a fucking show.
Wow.
Duff, Slash, and the other guy guaranteed $1 million per show. Everybody else was a hired gun.
Well, because you were talking about like most people have like that 4-year window. If you have a decades-long window, like if you've turned it into that, you must be top of the top.
Now, let's say it took me 21 years to get to my window.
That's a lot of fucking...
When I hit the window, I was prepared.
Yeah.
And then I was in it full steam ahead, working out, 2 podcasts, this guy's podcast, auditions, movies in between a fucking touring. It was, you saw it, you were there.
But there's also like, because it is kind of like you do grow. Because I thought you were saying like your zeros are increasingly more. Like, yeah, it took you 20 years to hit like your top window. But like, you got movies, you got commercials, like you were growing the entire time.
Yes, always. I was always preparing for that spot.
I guess it doesn't, yeah.
And I was well prepared, and and I'm very happy it worked out this way. Some people watching this going, 20 years, you're a loser. Okay, that's fine. Most people wouldn't have lasted 20 years, 21 years. They wouldn't have done it. I had nowhere else to go. I was like fucking Office and a Gentleman. I had nowhere else to go. Now I'm 45. What am I going to do now? What do you want me to do? Start a career at McDonald's? What do you want me to do? Start a career as a bicycle mechanic? Go back to ITT Tech and learn how to fucking wire a sunroof or some shit and come to your house once a month with a Led Zeppelin shirt on? Hi, I'm here to install your alarm. Give me a fucking break, So I was in it. And then I just decided on what kind of career I was going to have. And then out of nowhere, it went sideways. And we started podcasting and videos and fucking when we went to the movies with everybody for the Stallone movie, it was a process. But those 4 years, I didn't stop. I had a kid in the process. I was doing my own tour, and then they put me on that Live Nation tour.
Right.
Dog, it didn't end. And I'm very fucking grateful. Very grateful. Best times of my life, but I always knew it was a little window. And then you do 2 things. You could take that window and play it out so you can never show your face again. Or you could take your toys, go home, and live for another day.
What do you mean by that?
I could stay in your face for 10 years and really be effective for 5 of those years. And the other 5 years, I'm just spinning my wheels.
Got it. And then, or you could do what?
Or I could take a breather, see who the fuck I am, where I'm at, if this material's even working for me. Why am I saying this shit? This isn't who I am anymore. And then you come out and you're a new person. I wish I could do it, but I can't do it.
No, but it's not what you want to do right now.
No, I'm having a good time doing what I'm doing. Shot a video today, smoked some dope, went to boxing class.
That's awesome. You said you're starting boxing again. You did boxing when we first met, but you haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, because I came back during the pandemic and there was one gym who did it and it was creepy. It looked like COVID grew in there. I go in there and you walk up the stairs. The stairs were rickety. The stairs had COVID. The water fountain had COVID. The guy was creepy. I was like, I'm not doing this. I went like 3 times.
Why would you go 3 times if it was that creepy?
Because you pay the guy. You can't stop. Just quit. I work hard for that fucking money. I'm not just going to fucking not go. I bought like a 5 package or something. I went to the intro. I went to 3 other classes, and I was like, this is too creepy for me.
Wow.
The class looked weird. Nobody was out yet.
Right.
I got here in 2019. I was trying to push the envelope, and COVID was still fucking going strong. A lot of these places were open. I walked in there, and they were like, what are you doing here? We haven't had a customer in 3 weeks.
Wow, you're the only ones walking around.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
I went to another place that was a joke. He had like his wife asked me what affiliation I was with when I first went there. And I looked at her and I go, I'm a felon. I'm with the felony fucking foundation. And she just shit her pants. Are you a Republican? What's it got to do with me joining a fucking gym?
Yeah, that's a crazy question to get asked. Did someone who worked there ask you that question?
Yeah, the owner's wife. And I was like, no, this ain't for me. Trust me.
I would love to know like if you had said like a Democrat, like what would she have done? Like
I had
pay more? Like
I had so much anxiety at the time. I was trying to do anything to get out to save me from the anxiety. But at the same time, I was getting anxiety walking into these COVID fucking places. And I would go, what am I doing? I'm in here boxing with a mask on. What the fuck am I doing? And I even went into a hospital and fucking got my knee cut because of the fucking anxiety. I didn't know what, So it was crazy. That COVID shit had put me over the top when I got here. Now I got a chance to see, look around. The only thing I really did right was walk into Gracie and then stick it out and go there. And so it is what it is. You do well at one areas, and some areas you eat shit and you learn. But yeah, that's pretty basic. What I was thinking about this, like you do a good 4 or 5 year run, you're covered. You got into a rotation. You made it simpler. You found a hard system and you made it simple, and you figured out how to make some guitas doing it and having fun at the same time and doing drugs and smoking dope and, just being free.
Oh, it's so fun. That's all I was thinking, because I'm not a headliner by any means, but when I got to do it, it was like a little glimpse of like what could happen. And hey, I was 7 hours notice, but like it was just,
Dog, it's like when Valvano used to, first practice of the year, he used to have him cut the nets off to see how it felt to be a champion, to cut the nets off.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes it's a great thing that you did that. I'm not mad, I'm happy for you. And listen, if you would have called me back and said you bombed, I would have go, big deal. You're never going to see those motherfuckers again anyway, but you got to do it. You got to.
God, I didn't bomb. I did well.
And you got a chance. Last week you said something to me, and I spoke about it today also, that there was a question that you always know how to ask me questions that I answer on the spot, but they're questions that they're deeper. Like last week you asked me where I got the faith to hang in there for 21 years, and it's like, guys, if you know you're doing the work, something will tell you to keep going. And unless you're just not into being honest with yourself, it's like I had to talk with myself in December. If I'm going to keep doing this, I got to do it right. I got to go on these days. And, what's the big deal? Why am I missing these days? And you got to stick to it. And a lot of people at one point, it starts off great, but then they meet a girl, they get a job, they get discouraged. Somebody told them they couldn't be on Comedy Central. And that's when you get fueled. When people told me no, that made me fucking want to go off.
Really? Did you have like a day or two where you were like depressed, or would you just immediately get?
I'm a human like everybody else, bro. And I got feelings. And when you're putting talent into somebody, listen, I would love to help comics. I really would. I help you because I know you and I could speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some comics you're not going to talk to. And on top of that, it's very hard for me to judge a comic.
Why is that hard for you?
Because I know there's always growth. I know I can make little adjustments in you, but as a human being and a comic and what I've seen, I know there's always growth. And all I would ever tell a comic is, man, I like that joke. That was pretty funny. Keep doing what you're doing. And they'll tell me, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Listen, you're not doing nothing wrong. You think because you're not on TV or because Bert's not calling you for a tour that you're doing something wrong. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. That means that you're going to work yourself up to that level. I didn't get good at anything by people telling me, you know, yes, Lee. I got good at shit by people telling you fucking no. That was horrible. That was god awful. You know, and that's why comics hang with each other at night and we talk to each other. You know, because that's kind of like that's where you put little things out there. I wait for Lee to go. Did I tell you? I showcased for the fucking guy in Providence, and he told me I wasn't good enough. And then one of the other comics will crack a joke, and then I'll feel bad, and I'll go, you know, did I ever tell you that I fucking got booed at the fucking, you know, you're like, no, we never heard that story. And that's the whole acceptance. You know, you're not just bombing by yourself.
Oh,
I love comics bombing stories.
You love them?
Because, you know, like when I tell a story, people go, oh, it's a lie. Dog, when I tell somebody a bombing story, they go like, that's a lie, Joey. And I'm like, why would somebody be proud of bombing? When you're doing comedy 20 years, you're going to call me one night and go, I know you can't hear me on the phone, Uncle Joey. Oh, you're old, but I wrote down my 20 biggest bombs. And you'll write them by date, comic, who was there. And then the longer you get in comedy, you'll go back and go, oh, I know why I bombed that night. I don't advise that for any comics. That's bullshit. But you don't remember when you killed at Madison Square Garden. You're going to remember when you died in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You know.
You have like nightmares of bombs?
Oh my God, I take a shit every fucking day, and on my wall, it says June 7, 2019, Joey Diaz, the fucking Palace in New Orleans. I look at it, and I just fucking close my eyes. They gave me a plaque to bomb. Who gives you a plaque to bomb? I feel like the kids from the 90s that you came in ninth place, and they told you did great. You know, you're not doing me no favors.
Why are you hanging this up then?
Because I had nothing to put up on that wall. So I just put my shitty moments up on the wall. It's a picture. It's that thing and a picture of a forest that somebody made for me. I think I gave it all 20, and it looks like the ocean.
The forest that looks like the ocean?
Yeah, I just look at that. I look at the plaque, and I just look down in the mornings. God damn it. I can't believe I bombed in New Orleans. And there's many more. That one just reminds me every day. But every once in a while I'm driving and I just fucking wake up from a coma. It's like, oh my God, you know, it's like if you got raped in the 3rd grade and you didn't tell a counselor, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, speaking of counselors, I want to talk to you guys about BetterHelp. I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Listen, stop acting like you can handle everything. Because at the end of the day, you can't. Even savages like me need therapy, and BetterHelp is the absolute best. They'll help you work through whatever's on your mind and wherever you want it. It's all online or over the phone. It's easy. All you do is fill out a quick questionnaire. They'll match you up with a licensed therapist, and you can even switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. Listen to me. I was having a lot of problems. You know, I couldn't sleep at night because I would go to bed angry and about the dumbest things in the world. She gave me some exercises. Now when I can't sleep, I'm agitated about something. I'm too excited. I come down, I slow it down. I write out some questions. I write out some answers. And here I am 4 years later. I feel a lot better. I feel secure. And I'm ready to, you know, be a savage full time. If you're struggling with, you know, anything, listen. Give it a try. get in touch with BetterHelp. They're going to help you. They got a great therapy staff, a therapeutic staff, and they will rock your world. They'll give you exercises to go. And again, you could see them at any time, any place in the comfort of your own home. So do yourself a favor. You got something that's eating on you, it's time to get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Do me a favor. Visit BetterHelp.com/Diaz, D-I-A-Z, and I'm going to get you 10% off your first month. Listen, that's a deal and a half if you know what's going on out there right now. So please contact BetterHelp. We're going into the summer, into the holidays. Maybe you had a recent death in the family. Maybe your dog got hit by a bat. Something, you know what I'm saying? Something. Whatever's on your mind, contact BetterHelp, and they'll help you through it. Again, go to BetterHelp.com/Diaz, D-I-A-Z, to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Diaz. I want to thank BetterHelp for supporting the show and for helping people like you. We're back, bitches. Don't forget, if you're feeling ho-hum, contact BetterHelp. They work for me, and I got deep psychological scars. It'll work for you, especially from bombing all those years. I was just telling Lee how, you know, the triple runs, I don't remember bombing, but I remember bombing at certain clubs. I remember I bombed in Baltimore one time. Even the crabs wouldn't come up for like a week, dog.
Was it like the whole show? Like
I bombed in Jacksonville for 5 shows straight.
Oh.
I won't even land in Jacksonville today.
Was it the one first and only time you did that city?
And listen, I bombed in Nashville one time. I'm surprised I went back there and became friends with the guy. The guy remembered my bombing, and he goes, "It happens. You're an East Coaster." I mean, he talked me through it, and then he's the one that told me, "Come back." And I'm like, no, I fucking died to death there. I'm not going back. Atlanta, I bombed.
Really?
Yeah, at the club. No, Charlotte. At the club in Charlotte, I bombed. I stayed all weekend like a jamoke. I could have left Saturday, but I stayed till Sunday night to do a showcase. I didn't know it was ethnic night with drums, and they shoot arrows at you. And I went up there and died a slow minute, 7 minutes. And then I had to fucking spend the night at the airport. You know, this is why I advise people against that shit. You don't know what you're walking.
That's crazy.
You remember?
I can't imagine you bombing like that.
Fucking bombings, man. Then this Comedy Store. That one, those were crying. Those were long tears. And in my apartment in 93, I would cry when I bombed.
Do you remember the first time you bombed at the store?
That first weekend.
What room was it in?
The main room.
Oh, no. Was it full? Oh, man.
And all you heard was crickets and some guy burping at the end. I had to follow Dom Irera. And then, like an idiot that I am, I went and said something to Mitzi Shore. I told her I never want to do in the main room no more. I don't care what you pay me. And she put me in there again. And then she would put me in there again. I was making money, but I was on a bombing fest. I bombed in that room for fucking years, Lee.
Did it get any easier, or did it hurt every time?
And it was like 50-50. I would do Fat Tuesday in there, and I would do benefits in there, and I would do okay. And then when I left for 7 years, once I came back, I started killing in there.
Yeah, you got used to it.
Yeah, I got used to it. I was away from it. I learned how to attack it better. You know, it was 450 seats. I was doing 200. So you don't, that's an excuse I used. I don't even know if it's an excuse, or I should even put it out there for young comics. I just had to work myself up to it.
Well, you were pretty early, like not early, but what were you at when you moved to LA? 7 years in? Or 9? What is it?
6.5.
So, I mean,
4 years from 93 to 97, I worked fucking hard and put myself in bad positions to get myself out of them. And I always thought I was retarded for doing that. And then I met Joe Rogan. And he told me he liked to go up at a certain spot at the store because he'd be in deep. And he wanted to, for people that don't know the story, Joe Rogan was an unpaid regular. And she would make him follow Carlos Mencia and Paul Mooney and Richard Pryor. And he was an unpaid regular.
So he wouldn't get the $15 or whatever it was.
No. And I still remember fucking having to drive to the main room on a Saturday night knowing I'm going to pick up $225, the most money I've ever seen in years, and still didn't want to get on stage. I would pray for the building to burn. I'd barely make in the original room. You know, I just learned and I hung in there. But there was a lot of nights, bro. I came from the store. I did my Coke. I had the Coke spoon in one hand and a tissue in the other from crying and thinking what I was going to do next. It wasn't working. But then I come out of my drug coma and I go, you know what? I got to write better material. I got to take an acting class. I got to talk to these people and learn what they're doing. I got to watch more tapes of the comics. I got to go watch more live comedy. You know, go watch this guy or this guy, you know, and see the differences and contrast. And that's, you know, it was a lot of fucking work, man. It was a lot of, looking back at it now, you know, people say, why don't you do stand-up? Dog, it's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of fucking work to do it my way.
And I don't think people see that. And like, of all the jobs that you've had, was stand-up your favorite? Like, if no money was there, like, whatever about it, like, out of all the jobs you ever had as a person.
Let me ask you a question, Lee.
Yeah.
If you were born into a $250 billion fortune,
yeah,
what would you do?
Does that start now, or does that from my whole life?
No. When you're born, when you're 6 years old, you got a butler, you got a maid that fucking wipes your asshole.
I'd probably do whatever the fuck I wanted.
Okay. But can you imagine the freedom you had if I gave you $200 million when you graduated college and said, Lee, I'm going to come back in 10 years. And I want 50 million cash back from you. But I want you to tell me, I'm going to give you 100 million, but I want you to tell me what you did in those 10 years. If you told me you gambled it and I come back and you got like a twitch, you know, but if you told me that you did what you always wanted to do, but you did it for free.
Right.
If I was financially correct, listen, my love was always to be an attorney. I love that shit. That's why I watch stupid criminal shows. That's my little pet peeve. But there's no better job than stand-up comedy.
Right. It's almost not, but you were saying it's a lot of work that you, like you said, but it is.
It's a lot of work to get to where you're going. And then it's a lot more work to stay where you are. You just can't write an hour and live your life off that hour. After 3 years, people are going to go, I like Lee Syatt, but he's got to give that fucking story a break.
Right.
Oh, so it takes hard work to get where you're going. And then when you're there, shit, now you got to become a karate man. See, I thought that you just sat back and collected checks and people lit cigars for you. No, now you got to watch yourself more than ever. Now, and you know, in the 70s it was different. In the 80s it was different. Now you're a comic. You're being watched at all levels for stupid reasons. For stupid reasons, because at the end of the day, we don't matter. But in some people's lives today, you know, they follow us like they follow a Met game, like they follow the Yankees. And I'm very honored and I'm proud of that. You know, it's a fucking great thing to see where we've come from.
Well, I just think they just know so much. Every podcast I listen to, I know it's an interesting experience. I mean, it's different, I think, for you maybe because they were your friends first. Or someone who like is coming into it that I've seen them on things before I met them. Like it's almost like TV to me. It like that. It's like a someone the same way you like a sports person or a movie star. So it's know so much between their podcast being guests on other podcasts, and then You go see their stand up. It's a real fun thing to be like a fan. I like being a comedy fan. I love going to comedy shows.
I like being a comedy fan.
It's so much fun.
I don't think I could do what regular comedy fans do, like to go to all those shows. You know,
that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, would you feel comfortable? And I know to like call somebody like, hey, I don't want to go up. I'm not trying to do anything, but I just want to sit backstage and watch your hour from the side.
There's two people. There's one guy that I always watch when he comes. But there's another guy that I would go, and that's why I don't like to ask. Because I just want to sit there. I'll pay for a ticket for them not to know.
Right. Right, but I also figured you probably don't want to sit in the audience.
Well,
not that you don't want to, but it would disrupt the show.
You know, it would embarrass the shit out of me if somebody said Joey Diaz and, you know, that comic knows I'm there and I'm there in the back. Like, now it's like, what the fuck's he doing? Is he taping my set? I know Joey. Why didn't he just call me and sit in the back? But there's comics that I don't know that I go see today.
Right.
You know?
And it's
the
different.
best way to become somebody and the best way to fake yourself, to work yourself out of a slump, comedy-wise or in our business, is to get entertained. You're going to go 1 week. You're going to call me in a year and go, I don't know what's going on, man. I can't write a new joke. I bombed the last 4 fucking times. I bombed at a fucking, you know, you're going to laugh at it.
Right.
I don't know, Joey. And I'm going to go, open your fucking computer. See where there's a jazz club today. Go watch a jazz club today. Call me tomorrow. You call me tomorrow and I'm going to tell you, go see a circus. Go see something buck wild, a punk rock band. Go to something you wouldn't pay to go fucking see. Nothing for $300. I'm talking about downtown Boston. There's got to be a bar where people are jumping up and down, lighting their hair on fire. And it might not be what you like, but you're going to learn something.
What are you thinking they'll learn? Like, what are they looking to learn?
How he got all those people in there. How he got those 34 people to dress like him. You know, what is he doing as a singer? What is the bass player doing? And then you're just enjoying their music. You're not criticizing their music. You're looking to see what the attraction is, what they're doing different. You know?
Yeah. It was actually pretty, because I went to Nashville twice this year, and I'm not really a huge music person, but I went to a couple of bars, and it reminded me of like the shows that I do. But like, it was just like bars. And they were doing covers, but they were awesome. And it was like they had shows. And then I went to a jazz club, and it was like cool to like they did sets, and it was fucking really cool.
You know, when I was younger, I would go to those fucking peep shows and shit. You know, and they're just a disgust fest. They're just a disgust fest. It's just people exchanging diseases. You're young, you're stupid. But I remember years ago, I mean, I was maybe 21, 22. I had just come back from Colorado. I was a mess. But somebody took me into the city one night to see like a sex show. Okay, I didn't know how to bring this up. And it was like $50. They had food and drinks. And these people fucked in front of you. I thought it was disgusting. He brought me there. Like, he's like, you got to see this shit, you know. But when I left there, it wasn't what I thought. It wasn't a peep show. They'd had a lot for the imagination. Like, they had sheets on them. It wasn't a porno room. They had, like, silk sheets on them. Yeah, when she was giving him a head, he pulled his leg out. And when he was eating her out. But besides that, it wasn't discussed. The guy was attractive. The chick was really attractive. And they were artists. Like, they had their art. I thought, you know, listen, the last 2 weeks, I've been stuck on something.
Okay.
I'm going to fucking turn this thing off. Again, it's entertainment. This is why I'm stuck on it. Apple had us a recommendation to listen to Madonna's. There's Essentials.
Okay.
Okay. When was the last time I listened to Madonna? You know, what do I care about Madonna? She's touring the planet looking like fucking Eddie Munster with a wig on and a gold tooth. Mm-hmm. All right, so she's got diapers on, you know. She comes out with a knee pad. She's an hour late every night. Come on, Madonna, you know.
I had no idea.
Showing pornographic shit up on the fucking thing. You know, Madonna's a mess, but dog, in 1983, Madonna hit the scene, and by 85, she was running things. Okay. She was right up there with Madonna, with Michael Jackson and Bruce Springsteen, and all the motherfuckers animals that came out in 84. By 87, she had a Pepsi commercial, and she she made Jesus a black dude, and she kissed him and shit, and Pepsi lost their fucking mind, and America lost their fucking mind, but they had to give her $10 million.
Why? Because
that's what she charged them or something. I don't know. Look it up tonight and read it. And then in 91, she released an album called, I don't know if it was Vogue or something fucking dirty, but she released a song called Justify My Love. And right off the bat, the video got banned on MTV and the whole fucking thing. So that song is on.
Give It To Me?
Huh?
Is it Give It To Me?
No, it's called Justify My Love. I don't know what it's on. That came Vogue maybe 91, 92. Because Vogue came out, and then 93 she came out with that song Deeper and Deeper. And I listened, you know, I was always on Madonna in the 80s. Right? But her fucking in the 90s, Madonna was fucking brilliant. I mean, listen, from my perspective, it was so brilliant listening to that album, I came home and actually put the Justify My Love album, the video on. And if you watch this video, it's people fucking and sucking. It's gay guys running around with makeup on, but it's so artistic.
Did she have like a breakout song? Like what made her blow up back then?
83, fucking her first album, Just Destroyed. She was the queen of New York. By 85, she had a movie, Desperately Seeking Susan. She had a second album. But here's the fucking really weird thing. I come back in February, and by mid-February, I got an offer to be a bartender. I got to go to bartending school. So they give me a shift of 5 to 1 in the morning. But they sent me to bartending school so I could do banquets.
Oh, nice.
So there was a lot of nights I would come in, do 2 banquets, make $400, and they would go, Joey, you don't have to work the front bar if you don't want to. You go home. It's fucking 8 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock, whatever.
Deal.
And I would check with but on those nights I would have no cash because I didn't steal behind the bar because they put the tip in the fucking check. It was a bank. So I would always be light on cash. But there was one night I went into the city and they asked me if I'd come in at 12 to work a banquet. And then I was going to stay from 5 to 1 at the bar. It was going to be a long day, but I was going to walk out of there with 2 cash, 3 at the bar, and $400 for the banquets. That was a lot of money back then for me.
A lot of money now.
So I go in there on a Friday. I work the fucking banquet shift. I go to the front bar and they go, Joey, we're dead. You know, it was like one of those weekends in New York. People were walking around. It was the fall. It was like the beginning of the fall.
Right.
So I'm walking outside. It's about 6:30 maybe. I ate there, you know. I might as well get a free dinner and then stop in Harlem, get a nickel bag, and go back to Jersey.
Okay.
As I'm walking outside, this guy comes, the dude who, what do you call the concierge? This is the sheriff. Yeah, the concierge. I knew the guy, you know. I forget what his name is now. We would always fuck around. I'd bring him joints from Harlem. He'd give me this newspaper. And on the way out, I go, what's happening, brother? What's going on tonight in the city? He goes, oh, shit. It's funny you asked. He goes, I got tickets for the MTV Music Awards at Radio City.
Whoa.
Now, it was like 6:15. The sun was out. I still remember him talking to me on the steps. I'm right across the street from the Stage Deli, the famous Jewish deli. I'm standing there. He goes, I got 2 tickets for you. Take them. He goes, if you don't want them, sell them. You know, whatever. I go, okay. And I see a payphone. And there was only one person I could call. And I call this guy and I go, hey, man, I got tickets for the MTV Music Awards tonight at Radio City. You want to come? I thought this motherfucker was going to tell me no. He goes, you know what? I ain't doing nothing. Where are you right now? I go, I'm on 56 and 7. I'm going to take the A train up to Harlem. I got time. I'm going to pick up a couple nickel bags, see if I can pick up some pills up there, whatever, a package of Coke, and I'll shoot back down here. Where do you want me to meet you? And he goes, why don't we just meet at Radio City? I go, perfect. We fucking met outside. We rolled the number. We fucking walked in. They put us in our seats. I don't know. We were like in 30th row. It didn't matter. I don't remember nothing about that night, you know?
No.
But at one point, they said, coming to the stage is Madonna. And you look straight, right?
Yeah.
This bitch came out of the back in a wedding dress on. She went up there and put on a show. She stripped down to her fucking, you know, and sang like a virgin on stage. It's on MTV. It's on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure.
Listen, guys, I was in that room. She took the oxygen out of the room.
What about her performance? Like just the way she was singing?
Her performance sucked the oxygen out of the fucking room. They were expecting anything else but what they saw. Anything else than what they saw, including myself. I was blown away. I wish I could see that performance live again today to feel what I felt. You know, because I know I would have gone on the stage and just lit that motherfucker on fire. She had the freedom of nobody. She just made her own rules, man.
How long did it take you to have that feeling? Like how long into her set?
I had it the rest of the night when she walked off the stage.
But was it soon? Like was it like the first song or was it like?
No, she only sang one song. That was it.
Okay.
It was an MTV Music Award.
Okay, just one song.
The time I felt that was watching Doug Stanhope in '96 in Seattle that June. I felt the same way. Like that talent is off the charts. Like that's something I'll never attain. Or you could attain that. You just got to fucking get down and dirty, you know? Pretty interesting shit.
It is, especially like when you're. I remember just the level of laughter. Like I'll never like I was hosting for someone, and I thought I was doing fine. And this guy's not a famous headliner, but he destroyed the room. The same crowd, just like the level of laughs that like different comics get, and like how long they'll be laughing for. Like it's so crazy to see what people can do.
Listen, there's a difference between laughter, and there's a difference between unleashing energy in a room. Okay, it's two different fucking things, brother. I know 20,000 guys that could go up there and crack you up for 45 minutes. But I know 13 guys that could go up there and captivate you. And you're like, that's a stand-up comic? Yeah, but he's also been doing it for 30 years.
That's such a heavy word, captivate.
Captivate, motivate.
No. I like it. I'm just saying, like, it's because you do that. I think I'm not like I know you're not looking for like a compliment, but like that's people would be on their like sides with you, like. And there's other comics who do it. Like I just saw Rogan at the Mothership. He did it. Like it just has so much control.
But I got the same feeling when you go to Boston and somebody on your team hits a home run with 3 on base in the 8th inning when they had no fucking hope. You know, it's the same thing when somebody goes to see the Dolphins and they're losing 21-7 in the beginning of the 4th quarter. and you see this quarterback just take it into his own hands and start running and getting concussions. And, and I'm saying that about Josh Allen. I could be talking about anybody. So I could be talking about Kansas City. There's something about watching a basketball game and, one player, like just his energy. Same thing with Conor McGregor. Regardless of what's going on, there's a certain energy when they fight, it captivates you. And you're like, what the fuck did I just see? Whether he gets beat up or he wins, the energy he lets out. But that's later on in the chapter. You know what I'm saying? That's a complete, it was like seeing Zeppelin in the 70s. I can't imagine when I listen to the live albums, the energy they were letting out into the room. It just wasn't four dirty guys playing music and doing guitar solos. They were unleashing an energy that it takes a long time to nurture that and bring it up to the stage.
That always blows my mind about music. And I know they probably do shows on their way up, but they every time they put out an album, they play it for, I'm sure that they don't play it for crowds. They don't do it every night to practice. When they release an album, they've never played it live, right? Most people?
Yes, no, who knows? Maybe they tried it out somewhere you never heard about, But I understand what you're saying, but even that energy in the studio.
And yeah, I'm very impressed with musicians for that. Because I practice my jokes so many times.
Yeah, when you listen to a studio album, and you know that they got lightning in a bottle that night at the studio. And then years later, you read something they did, an interview, and they'll talk about it. That night was magical. Everything just fell into place. And it doesn't fall like that. It takes years for it to fall into place like that. High and Dry by Def Leppard's a masterpiece. The Beatles have a couple fucking masterpieces, just fucking masterpieces. So it's it really inspires you when you listen to a song or a guitar solo and it hits your soul. You're like, that's fucking amazing.
To see what they can do. It's because I felt the same way watching it. And I went and listened. You were talking about Ari on Bert's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Ari was talking about your main goal is to be funny. Listen, and here's my only the question I was thinking about. Not that I'm arguing with them, but for the comics who do political stuff, if their crowd likes it, as long as they're funny, I guess that's the whole point. They can do political comedy, but just make it funny, not like a speech. Is that because I'm trying to think there's comedy for certain people. Some people are looking for certain things.
Again, whether you're going to be a political comic, a Hamas comic, a fucking, a Puerto Rican comic, whatever, the goal is to be the funniest you can be.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do a political comedy and stick to it and commit to it, you got to make it funny. They hear politics all day.
Right.
They want to hear your take on it. What makes it funny to you? How does it fucking crash with your fucking world, cocksucker?
It's an interesting podcast. And it's because Ari also, he just started up a podcast again.
Yeah.
But he took a break, and it was just
listen, man, not to rehash last week, but it's very interesting to see the beginning path and where they are now and the differences. And look at their stand-up before the podcast. That goes for me. That goes for me in some situations, because my stand-up did improve after the podcast. I was performing so much that I had nowhere else to go. And I was really into it. I was writing stories for Ari. I was always in motion. And that's how to get great material also. So as my case went, the positive was I did get a little funnier, but the negative was I relied too much on podcast material.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was taking 20 minutes to discuss podcast material, which is Lee, whether it's a story we did, whether it's a guest we had. And I was starting to hurt my feelings because I couldn't churn out the material fast enough to do the tours. And I always wanted you to see me at least do something different, you know.
And was it harder for you to, like, not write, but I mean, if you spend time working on the podcast, when you had to add the podcast, did that kind of hurt your comedy a little bit?
At that time, no.
Okay.
But if I would have been doing comedy for 6 years, yes, that podcast would have hurt me.
Why? What would have happened?
Well, we would have made money.
Right.
Well, listen, then you got the guys from Philadelphia. They're pretty new at comedy. Their podcast is phenomenal.
Oh, Are You Garbage?
Are You Garbage? You know, podcast is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The energy I get when I do that podcast, I don't have to think about anything. They just throw me fastballs.
Right.
I knew you 30 years. These guys don't know me. And they throw fastballs. You know, they're amazing. I don't know. You know, they probably did some comedy in Philly before they moved up and stuff. But, you know, I just feel that if you're a 6-year comic, a 3-year comic right now, you're putting a lot of effort into social media to take you over the journey. And I think I just want to clarify that you could take pictures with The Rock. You could take pictures with Dave Chappelle. You could take pictures with the Queen of fucking England, you know, and you could take a picture of you in front of the Improv with a microphone. And all that's going to matter. That's going to get you on that stage there. But if you're weak, they're not going to bring you back. And that's going to be the story of it. You know how many comics I knew that had marketing potential in the beginning? Like, that's what they lived for. And they were great marketers. They would pack place. There was a kid in El Paso. He had to be 4'8". He looked like a little fucking Eddie Munster, Mexican Eddie Munster. He was a part-time janitor. Dog, that dude had 8 minutes of material, but he sold out a show every month.
Really?
He just knew people. He knew how to promote that, but he had to spend a lot of time to sell 300 tickets. So it took away from his stand-up.
Got it, yeah. Because he's working too much. Maybe he doesn't go out at night.
There's got to be a balance, and with stand-up, it's got to be stand-up first with a little bit of social media, and then once you start picking up heat as a stand-up, then you incorporate the social media, the full steam ahead. But I don't ever want you to be right here with comedy. You're at an open mic. You're number 38, and there's 42 people. And you want to start an open mic because you're going to sell out shows. And you start a fucking page, and, you know, you get custom fucking suits and all this shit. But if you're not funny, you're not going to keep those people back. Give yourself a chance to grow.
Yeah.
And incorporate the social media as you grow. And by that time, you'll have 15, 20, 30 minutes, and you could already post 2 7-minute sets. And then from there, you're just fucking working every 90 days.
It's hard. It's harder than I thought it was going to be to get flips.
Yeah. What do you think it's going to? You think they're just giving away fucking tickets? You know, it's a tough business, and then you got to incorporate it. You got to become funny, and then learn how to bring them in.
Absolutely. I meant, like, when I've been trying to record, like, it's been hard to get something that I want to put, that I'm kind of putting out.
Nightmare. You just wait till you're with Josh Wolf. The places you go, you're not going to record. There's people talking. There's people moving around the back. Just wait till you're with Josh. You get a clean tape of a nice place, and you do 3-4 shows, and you tape one. All right? I'm going to take 2 steps to the rear and get out of here. The piss is about to come out of me. I'll see you cocksuckers next week. Stay black.
Love you, buddy.
Love you. The check-in is brought to you by Fujisports.com, which is basically Fuji gis. If you're a big guy, you need a nice A4 or an A5, Fuji gi has got it. Their gis are tremendous, lightweight and tough. You know how they always try to pull your arm to get you back? Listen, your sleeve will not fly off here. This is a tough sleeve. The pants are comfortable. Listen, Fuji gi is the way to go, whatever you're looking for. They got rash guards. They got mats. You can get 4 mats for your garage and flip grandmother, teach how to do jiu-jitsu. Go to Fujisports.com right now. You see a gi you like, press in code CHURCH, CHURCH, and get 10% off on your next purchase. The check-in is also brought to you by Onnit.com. Listen, it's the home of the brain stuff, Alpha Brain. Let me tell you something. Whether you take the pill, the drinkable powder, or the new heavy-duty Alpha Brain in the black case, forget about what happens to your mind. You'll be thinking about things even the Martians can't catch you. You know what I'm saying? You'll be figuring out stuff like Terrence Howard. You'll be talking about mathematical tables and whatnot. Anyway, go to Onnit right now. I can't do anything for you on the kettlebells, but the brownies, the protein powder, oh my God, the Alpha Brain, the Shroom Tech with the mushrooms. They got the Shroom Tech Sport that'll make your lungs bigger than anything. And they got a Shroom Tech Immune. If you're going to be around a lot of creepy people, you take that and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, go to Onnit.com right now, press in code CHURCH, and get 10% off your first order. Remember, Fujisports.com and Onnit.com.